Fifine made a fantastic microphone with the Ampli game some time ago, and it is still one of my favorite USB dynamic microphones for content creation. Now this time, I would actually go as far as to say that they decided to make a more budget-friendly version of that same microphone in a more compact form factor. However, I've got some comments to make about it before the end of this review. So, introducing the Fifine Amplirocket microphone. Let's go ahead and dive right in. For more content, do make sure to subscribe to this channel because we upload fairly often and focus on all sorts of tech products. So do make sure to leave us a like and comment any of your thoughts down below while you're at it. It really helps us with the algorithm. And if you want to support us further, then we've actually got a Patreon open which offers early access to content and special insight to projects that I'm always working on in case that is something that interests you. So links to everything down below. I'm going to be streaming with this microphone tonight on Twitch so that you can hear what this microphone sounds like live, and you can also ask all of your questions live. The links to my Twitch are going to be down below in the description, and that stream will be happening tonight at around 8 p.m. Eastern Time, so do make sure to stop by for that. So let's get right into the video review first. In the box, you're going to find the microphone itself, the shock mount, two USB-C cables, which I will talk about a little bit more soon, and the microphone arm. The microphone itself is made out of metal and it feels very nice and hefty. I would say that in a lot of ways, this microphone is one of the best looking ones, especially when plugged in. The lighting looks very nice and smooth on the Fifine logo, which lights up in white. There's also going to be a capacitive mute button on the side that switches the light to red whenever this microphone is muted. Now the shock mount itself is made out of plastic, and you mount this microphone by just screwing it in. Just like so. Now this shock mount lights up on its own RGB configuration, and again, you can actually go through and press the lighting itself to switch between your different RGB lights. This combination looks absolutely beautiful as it is here, and I think that they did a very good job here with the aesthetics. So you're technically supposed to mount it in the opposite direction that you see here, but I kind of prefer how it looks like in this configuration because I do like how the lights are just pointing towards me, so I left it that way. But I do have one problem with this design. I love what they did here, but not how they did it, because there is a USB-C port on the shock mount which only powers the lights on it and a separate port for the microphone. That means that if you want both of them on at the same time, you need to have two USB-C cables plugged into your computer, which is a huge head scratcher just for one device. Now, one of the cables is called the charge cable, so I did assume that it would be used to charge the shock mount and only need to use one cable that way. But this did not seem to work for me as I left it charging overnight and it only turns on when the cable is attached still, even up until this point. And yes, I know that there is an on and off switch, or I should say more so like a mode switcher between lights over here, but it still only powers on when plugged in. This aspect is rather disappointing, and it shouldn't have to be the case here, just considering that this kind of messes with the whole convenience factor, the whole convenience aspect of this, since you need to free up two USB ports on your computer to get this full setup to work as intended. If you don't mind both cables plugged in or don't care for the lighting aspect, then this won't matter to you much. Now with that aside, this is a cardioidynamic microphone, but they call it unidirectional. Never heard of that as a polar pattern, but I'm pretty sure that it's just cardioid with a frequency response of 110 Hz to 15 kilohertz. So let's get into the actual sound test. The settings are going to remain unchanged except for the gain, which I chose to bring down to 70% for the best sound. This was done within Windows because this doesn't really have a gain knob or anything of the sort. I think that this microphone does a great job when it comes to sound rejection, as it is a dynamic microphone. But when it comes to the sound quality itself, I think that it sounds fairly compressed. And while I don't really believe that the sound is optimal for voiceover or vocals, I think that this should be fairly well for podcasting. And I think that most streamers who want to stick to a pretty low budget will like this microphone too. Plosives can be pretty disruptive, and since this doesn't really come with a windscreen or a pop filter of any kind, I would recommend speaking into it from an angle, kind of like how I'm doing right now. Here is going to be both the sound rejection test and the plosives test from an angle and also from addressing this microphone directly onward like this. So here we go. Peter Piper picked a patch of pickled peppers. I said that properly this time. Oh my gosh. Peter Piper picked a patch of pickled peppers. It's so satisfying to say when you finally nail it. And now this is going to be the plosives test from very much speaking directly into this microphone. So that's going to be Peter Piper picked a patch of pickled peppers. And this is what that's going to sound like. Plosives are definitely way more pronounced here. In conclusion, I think that Fifine could have done a better job executing this microphone, as the shock mount shouldn't really require a separate connection or power source, and the microphone itself sounds a bit too compressed for my taste. However, I think that a lot of people who want to stick to this budget will be willing to compromise some of the audio quality here in exchange for this amazing look. So I would genuinely tell you to get this if you want this aesthetic specifically, because the audio is good enough with this in mind. But if you do care about the audio quality, maybe just a little bit more, like maybe you're making the upgrade because of the audio quality specifically, then I would consider another microphone in Fifine's own lineup instead. It's not a bad sounding microphone by any means, don't get me wrong, but it isn't what I expected from them at this stage. Either way, know who you are, and you might find this microphone suitable for you. So thank you so much for watching this video up until the very end. I do hope that this review was helpful to you. I am going to be leaving affiliate links down to Amazon for this microphone, of course, in case you are interested in getting yourself one of these. And if you end up using my links, you would be helping out the channel quite a bit, so I would appreciate that quite a bit. Also, I would love to give a very special thanks to all of our patrons, beginning with the tier 3s, Sada Wazel, Aaliyah, and Omar. Thank you so much for all of your support, because it really does go a long way. Do make sure to stop by my stream tonight, by the way, because I am going to be answering questions about this microphone while using this microphone during the live stream. So yeah, do make sure to stop by. And now onto the rest of the patrons, which you should be seeing on screen, of course, but that should have been the case a while ago. So with that said, this has been Francisco from Tech Summit. Thank you for watching, and I will be seeing you all later. Enjoy.